5 key agents of socialization. And the first agent is the family. From the family, you go to the school. In the school, you meet peers. When you meet peers, you go to the workplace. And when you're at the workplace, and even since you're young, is when you're able to make a decision to which religious group you will belong. That makes 5 socialization agents, the agents that teach you manners, the agents that teach you your way of life. And so the church is not any different and is recognized by sociologists and social scientists as a socialization agent. A socialization agent has the ability to make you believe this is the right thing to do. It has power to shape your values and what you consider important. And it even has power to change your way of thinking. Think about it. We spend 8 hours in a day on the minimum at the workplace. The most of your productive life you spend at the workplace. How can the workplace not change who you are or make you develop certain manners of doing things? Just imagine the church where there's even a higher being to whom we submit. And then we have our church leaders who we believe are like intermediaries. And even them, they possess some level of power. I also want us to note today that the church is a place of vulnerability. You know, most people, when they feel down, wakifeel ni kama life in our challenge, they go for prayers. They go to worship God so that they have this belief that when they do that, their problems will come to an end. Even after problems come to an end, we continue to develop a feeling like, tukitoka, maybe zile shida zitanirudia. So, I'm just trying to explain vulnerability. Of course, that's not the only reason why people go to church, but really is a place of vulnerability, even when you consider the level of humbleness that people go with to church. Hiyo si mali ya kwenda kuchezea, like kuchezea mafuta, kuchezea madhabahu, kuchezea God, kuchezea sadaka, kuchezea tithes, kuchezea Biblia. So we go there when we are at our humblest, at our most humble. The church is also a place of continuous growth. You want to go to a church as an ordinary member, ukue member of a Mother's Union or member of youth, utoke hapo ukue chair wa youth, maybe ukue evangelist, is a place where opportunities for growth are also. There are also channels of growth there. And in most cases, if somebody grows to a level of a spiritual leader, you even get more admiration from people. Now, why did I start by discussing that? Is because I wanted us to put into perspective why it is that the church becomes very appealing to the political class and how the political class tries to align its ideologies and principles to that of the church so that it reaches our vulnerability. And that is why you find that at some point, other than just coming directly to the churches to discuss their agendas, you find that in most cases, the leaders want first to appeal to the spiritual leaders of the church so that they appeal to the congregation. And because at the congregation level, we are at a very good reception point when we are in church and we are humble, then definitely we believe what is spoken in church is true. But over time, that has continued to change, or that has started to change. That the people have realized that in church, ndio tunakuja kufinyiliwa, ndio tunakuja kudanganywa, because when we are in the church, we don't want to overthink. See, we are under the presence of God. We are under an anointing. We don't want our spiritual leader to speak like for lack of a better word, like a curse over us. I don't want to be noted I'm the one who brought disorder in church, but that is over. And while we're at that point, I want us to remove our mind from a position where the church is just in the church building, church squeezy iko kila mahali because of the fact that, or rather because of the opportunity of vulnerability among members in church, Most of the people who are in various needs, they engage the church. So unapatanga hata ukienda mahali kama mahali anywhere kutakuwa na mchungaji ana preach. It can be a wedding, it can be a rorashio, it can be maombolezi, it can be many places where you go and you say, even if nobody knows me there, which church is leading there, unaambiwa ni church fulani. Unasema mchungaji huko ni beshte yangu, bishop huko ni beshte yangu, so I'll get a chance to speak. So as we talk even about the church and the like, let us not contain our mind to when we are seated in church on Sunday, but the church spills all over the community because it has this special place in the hearts of all the community members. So the church generally is a place whereby there is a lot of convincing. The convincing, when it comes to convincing and being convinced, the church becomes one of the most appealing places for leaders. However, there's one thing that I want to bring to perspective. The church has been used for many different things and ways to appeal to the people. Like, for example, the Bible is very clear about Thanksgiving. But what we've seen in the recent past, starting with our very own government, is giving have been used as ways of fundraising for the church. So you find somebody is doing a fundraising, I want to do a perimeter wall. We are doing a fundraising, we want to do this and this for the church so that we continue buying into the church. But also one of the challenges that we have now, we want to compare the various religious institutions, is that the Christian church is basically, or in terms of law, Sharia, it is very unregulated. Because you will find that even one individual in a certain church has a lot of say. But why are these politicians not doing their politics in the temples? Why are they not doing their politics with the atheists? Why are they not doing their politics in the mosques? You know, like vile wanakujanga kwa church wanaingia. Why are they not doing that with the mosques? Because we all know that except juzi venye serikali ilileta sheria after the kulikuwa kunaitwaje Shakahola, then they try to make a law that regulates the opening of churches. But basically, the church remains unregulated. You can have that law, but if I have founded a church and I have 2,000 followers, whether you interact with those followers when they are in a church setup or not, really depends on who that I am. So I want us to evaluate. Government has penetrated the church, but what does it really do for the church that is good for the community? There are churches that own schools. I've not, and I'm yet to hear, and I want to be corrected and hear from you. Have you had a leader, an elected leader or a business leader who has gone to your church or a church nearby that owns a school and says, I want to sponsor the construction of a classroom. I want to sponsor the children in this school that is owned by the church, at least pay school fees maybe for candidates. Churches own hospitals. Have you had a leader fundraise for that hospital to equip them maybe with a dialysis machine, a cancer center, just to mention but a few of the contemporary issues that we have? We have hospitals, we have churches that own businesses. Have we had government or government officials do fundraisings and channel those funds to a cause that touches the life of the people? We are not saying that constructing a hall is wrong, or constructing a perimeter wall, or giving to a land purchase project is wrong, but the souls and the softer issues of those people, have they been touched? I worship in a small church. Let me call it a small church, a growing church. You who worships here in a growing church, have you observed a trend of where When it's campaign time, these leaders come to these smaller churches. But when they get into leadership, when they are called for the fundraising, they prefer to go to the bigger church and leave out the small churches. So the question we beg is, if these funds that we raise are to build these churches, why don't we build the churches that indeed need to be built? Is because at the end of the day, the politician wants to appeal to the hearts of the people, which is what at the end of the day looks like deceit, like uongo ya aina. But forget that when they want campaign, they need even the smaller church. So usually fundraising goes to established masses with even sometimes complete infrastructure. They just find a way of, just saying we need this. In the African traditional society, the church and the religions were even believed to bear blessings or curses. And you wonder, is this not is it a disregard or is it not a disregard for the supremacy of the church? Because why would, I mean, maybe I want to hear from you. Why do you think the leaders choose, literally choose, the churches they go to during campaign and even after campaign? So that now we say, even as a church and even as we take a stand, we need to say that even when we are in this church, we are in this church as parents, and our children come to this school that you're seeing here. Kindly support the school. Because if you support the church, it goes directly to the church. So that now we are able to build a holistic community. For me, that is my take as a commentator of this session, that I think it is time politicians learn to give back to even the smaller churches so that we realize growth. Right now, there is a church that is leaking. Sahii kuna church tu imejengwa na mabati. Sahii kunanyesha, they are even worried. Even the pastor has to put a bucket pale kwa pulpit. I've seen one. But there's a church, and that church, if you ask them, maybe they just need like 50,000, 100,000 to just do a good structure. But there's a church somewhere with a complete building, with everything, and they just got 10 million the other day, or 5 million, or 2 million. Yet these 2 million, you can give to 20 churches, and they build themselves. And as they build themselves, they build their congregation, and they are able to impact the society. I've never been to downtown, let me not say downtown, the interior parts of Mbere. But when I go to schools to do my sanitary pads drives, the kind of churches I see there, I'm like, gosh, who pasiata ukampea 50K amejipanga. But we are all of us doing I fail to understand. I know many of you might wonder what I'm asking because I've been in that space. But believe me, these are the questions that I asked myself. That if I was a leader in Embu County, would I gather my colleagues in Bunge, in Senate, my fellow governors, my fellow MCAs, tupeleke 10 million kwa church fulani na hapa juu, ama hiyo 10 million ni tutafute 100 small churches wa mundu wenu kiengirie gana agatume kanitha wake. Not just looking at my political influence, but my influence on these people. And that is how I think we are going to win back people to the order of the church, is by convincing them that the church is just not a platform for politics. It can be a platform where our wives, our husbands, our children, and our families are transformed, because it is a channel to bring development, not a channel to bring politics. And that is my take for today. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Daktari, for the wonderful presentation. And I know imetuletea maswali mingi sana, ile ambayo tunajaribu kujibu na tutakuwa tunayazungumza hapa hivi sasa. Members, help me appreciate Daktari for the wonderful presentation kindly. Yes, let's applaud her. Thank you so much. So it's our time to talk. It's our time to bring on our ideas ama tulete kile ambacho tunafikiria ni wakati wetu. Kuna from what daktari has just presented, kuna maswali mengi sana ambayo tunajiuliza. Like for me, I was remembering when these politicians were doing campaigns, ama anytime they are doing campaigns, we see them go to church to be kuombewa, like waekwe mbele za Mungu waombewe, so that they win the election. Then when they win the election, some of them go back to that church, maybe to give thanks or something else. But kuna kitu moja ambacho sijaona kikifanyika. Sijaona kanisa likifuatilia the leadership of that particular leader, na sijasikia our viongozi au the elected taking consideration ama considering the opinion of the church afterwards, that is after the election, when they now get to power and to the reign. They don't like get back to know what is the church doing, how is the church faring. They don't do that, and also they don't take any hawatilii maanani yale maneno ambayo kanisa linawaambia wakati wanaenda mrama ama wakati wanapotoka njia. And my question today is, what do we think is not happening, or what do we think is happening now that the church maybe the church is not correcting the government, it is not shaping the government, or the church is trying to express themselves to help the government or to help the people, but to some extent the government is not paying attention to the views of the church. What do we think? What's not happening? And it's our time to talk. It's our time to say everything. That is just what I thought. There is what you thought, there is what the other person thought. And I am very happy that you already have people who are ready and willing to say something. So it's an open forum. No one is judging. We are here to learn from each and every one of us. We are here to enlighten one another. And we are going to start with John. John, when you start talking, tell us your name, tell us your occupation, and anything else you'd love us to know about you. And then tell us your views about the church and the government. Tell us the good and the bad. Over to you, John. John, did you hear me? Because your hand is up, John. Then if John isn't ready, Derek, umeinua mkono. It's your time.
Thank you. My name is Derek, a student at the Kabete National Polytechnic, pursuing automotive engineering. Madam Karani posed a question why leaders choose to go where in churches which are well infrastructured and well off. I think there are saying that says dance with the one who brought you. This means stay loyal to those who help you succeed. And I think this is a very risky logic within our society, because as you can see that in our society there are churches which are very big and very humongous, and there are some churches which are small churches. And the main reason why people or leaders go to these churches is because of three reasons, according to my own understanding and point of view. There is a reciprocating of opportunities. There is this reciprocating of opportunities, which as a normal person you expect something in return, which is by influence, exposure. And there's also the perception that in these big churches there are a bigger audience and ready audience, and also there's the investment of power and money and time, where as when they go to those places, uh, they expect that when it's time for campaign or time to give back or to pay, they will be awesomely rewarded. Thank you.
Asante sana, Derek, for your wonderful participation. I know that we are learning from each and every one of us, so thank you so much for your opinion. John, your hand is still up. Can you hear me, John? Right. Maybe John isn't in a position. And I have got another question, or rather, something else. Derek, kindly mute your microphone so that we can get one another better in a better way. And one thing that I am also thinking about is what could be the potential for conflict when the political leaders use religion to justify policies or actions, which can lead to division and unrest within societies. Do you think that has already happened in our county or in our country, or do you think that we are at risk of it happening, whereby we have conflict between the government and the church, or the church and the people? What do you think? These are like the conversation that we need to have, and we are an open forum. We are having a discussion. No one knows better than any other. Like, what you know is valid, so let us know your point. Wacha tujue unafikiria nini, ndio tupate kulearn from one another. What do you think is another role of the church apart from kanisa kuombea serikali na kuombea kila kitu? What do you think about the church being able to guide or to foster a community support and moral guidance? Do you think sometimes even our government gets out of the moral values? Have you seen it? Yes, I know you have seen it. So what do we think? How can the church be able to address this, or is the church addressing it? Ama church wanaongea, our viongozi wetu ndio hawasikii when we see them demonstrate some levels of any form of immorality, because I have seen it. Mimi nimeona viongozi wanatusiana kwa mtandao, wanatusiana sana, wanatusi hata wale elected, hata wale wananchi ambao waliwapigia kura. What do you think the church should do about that? And how direct should it be? Ama how indirect should it be? It is an open forum, guys. I don't know whether you people are enjoying it the way I am enjoying it, because these questions are too much and this topic is so much interesting, and we just need to take part in it. Who is ready to say something? Anybody? We have Josephine, we have John, we have Oscar, we have Lenson, we have Ian, we have Tesh. Tell us something. What do you think about the church and the government in Embu? Not just in Embu, but in Kenya at large. We also have Daktari. Maybe Daktari could be having another point you'd like to add. Yes.
As sijui mwenye ameinua mkono anaitwa nani? I'm seeing a D.
It's Derek.
You know, yes, I would want to set it easy for us and say that right now I know even most of us are thinking, guy in church I'm a quiet person, I fear the passive, we are intimidated. But this forum is for asking, what can we do differently? And like I said, sipendi kujiseparate sana. All the things that you people are saying I've done. When I vied for Senate in 2022, I was prayed for. But having grown up as a church leader, because I was a praise and worship leader for almost 4 years, kuna mambo nilikuwa naona haziendi poa. Like it took a lot of grilling and grueling from the team that was campaigning for me to convince me naweza enda kusimama mbele ya kanisa nifanye siasa And I can even go to Mashakaya and do siasa, or go to people's functions and start selling my agenda. And over time, what I have learned, even like this time when I'm not I'm not an elected leader, is that I've even realized the process of mourning needs to be different. Like, huwezi kuwa mpaka saa hii unafanya siasa za mwariki kuvunjerwa mutungatiri warikia kuvoera ndo niguo mboke mparie. For me, I have grown past that, members, and that is why I speak about it so passionately. If I decide naenda maombolezi mahali, I go maombolezi. If it's for 7 days, I go at least 4 days continuous, so that you're able kueleweka we ni nani. But these things of 2 minutes, there's somewhere I'm going, for me, I said no. And it is the same thing with the church, that for me, I want to be a change. That I want the hearts of these leaders to be with the change, because that's why I began by saying kanisa ni mahali, ama any, let's call them religious institutions, is a place where behaviors are molded. You've even found a situation whereby now even the people who want to campaign for politicians wanaenda kutegea politicians kwa kanisa. But ita tukategeane huko nje kwa uwanja, kwa ground, tunakuja kutegeana kanisa. Oh, anakuja huku nitakuja kumuona. But for me, I see a church, and even after that season, I saw a church as a place where a leader can put themselves together and decide, today I'm going to worship in church ABC. Na nitaenda huko tufanye service ama tufanye mass. And then we do the Thanksgiving, or we do the jumbo sale they want us to do. And then because they must allow me to talk, I limit what I talk and then I go. But the issue is that I was there and I understood the needs of these churches. Siwezi kuja kwa kanisa yenyu 2 minutes, hata preacher aki preach, I'm not even getting. Father is saying mass, I'm not even hearing what he's saying, because I have to be, I don't know where in the next 30 minutes. If the church is to be an agent of change, like the way we desire, just like the school, just like the workplace, if the church is to be a channel of development, then the order that created the church and that sustains the church must apply across board. It also reminds me of a time when churches used to say, we are not going to give any politician any platform. And you've even heard them say the other day. When I went into politics, I also met that narrative. And before you be given the mic, you would be somehow by the mchungaji, mpaka you'd be like, where am I even in the right place? But for me, I used to speak to my heart and say, you're in a territory I'm in a territory that is not my own. So I need to listen to what he's saying. And I kept telling some of the preachers that, you just need to identify the new crop of politicians that is coming up, and then you mold them to what the church wants. Tell them that right now we are a small church, tuko kwa mabati, tunanyeshewa, kukiwaka, tunawakiwa, we have Sunday school ya watoto wanne, but we have a vision of starting a dispensary. Support our dispensary, support our school. So I think in this forum, I don't want you to look at the church so critically, but I want you to look at it like, I am a member of this religious organization. It can be any church or mosque, or then how can I bring development to my people through the church? Sahi yenye politicians wanapenda kanisa. That is how I want you to look at it. Like from this forum, you can say, tunaita governor kwa church yetu hata inapewa, it doesn't have those big names of, those big names that we know of. Maybe inaitwa the Fire of Calvary. Who knows the Fire of Calvary church somewhere down, na huku chini ama na huku juu kwa msitu. But then from this forum, you should be able to feel it and even sell an idea to your mchungaji that, mchungaji, tukitoka hapa, tukipita hii level ya kujenga church structure, uko na maono gani? Si kama tuko Mutuavare, we can even start a nursery school for the Mutuavare kids, and we make it a good nursery school down in the valleys of Nagoko Karie Momenje. And then invite your leaders to that development initiative run by the church, so that we stop this fighting in church, goonism in church, discrimination in church. Have you ever been to a church where, and I'll tell you this from experience, mimi nakuanga na mastori mingi sana. I went to a church where I was not known, and then another politician comes and they are known, and I'm completely ignored. Yeah. So let us draw these politicians to development. Yeah. Let us not draw them to Thanksgivings and kujenga, I don't know, jenga in what, and yet the businesses of those people in that church are suffering. Somebody in that church is wondering, nikitoka hapa hata mtoto wangu ana school fees. Can we be agents of change in our churches from this forum? That is what I want to look for. And like our moderator Kezia is saying, can you tell us, and you don't have to name a politician, can you tell us an incident that you had where you thought what politicians are doing is not good, and a chance where you thought that what the politician did was good? And what was that? So that from here, we carry a point home and we are able to make the change that we want. Thank you, Kezia.
You're welcome. Asante sana daktari. Umeendelea kutupatia points zingine ambazo zinaendelea kufanya our conversation ikue more broad and more broad, na zaidi kutuleta katika muktadha huu sisi kama wenyewe, that where we stand as individuals and what we can do, because by the way tunaweza kuwa tuna overrate hii mambo ya church na hii government, tuna overrate church ni nani, but at least umeweza kutuleta sisi kama sisi wenyewe. And I noted your main point about the church helping in complementing the work of the government by enhancing development within the church ama from the church through vitu kama shule, dispensary and other things, of course, that are to the benefit of the people. Yeah, that was your point and probably other more. Mimi nimesema yangu ambayo nimepata, kuna mwingine amepata ile ingine na kuna zingine mingi. Asante sana. Derrick kuna jambo anataka kutuambia. Derrick, tuambie.
Thank you. Ngongi Derrick, my name. Sikusema, by the way, I'm aspiring to be the next Embu County Campus Student Organization, a chairman and a future leader. God grace. Also, there's two sayings zenye zinakuanga kwa society yetu sana, most inakuanga authority comes from God and don't question the church. Hizi zinakuanga tu so poisonous sayings. Junapatanga these two spaces zinakuanga independent to each other. Kuna time uko amesema no church politics, but eventually ukapata zimekuja zikaanza kuingiana, and unapata tu politicians bado wanaenda kwa kanisa. For instance, leo umeona tu story yote ya Butere girls, the way they have been victimized and all that stuff, lakini hakuna church imetokea kukashifu hiyo kitu imehappen leo. Juu wanaona wakeza tokea wasema watakuwa wamepunguziwa all those privileges, na bado time ya Shakahola walikujanga wakasimama kuhusu church sana, lakini hakuna kitu ili happen at the wrong line. So the thing tunafaa kukua nini sahi kufocus, unaweza pata kama sasa the government kabla ifocus on the priorities, wana focus na church sana juu hiyo nenye iko na audience na nenye iko na benefit. Juu kama sasa for instance kitu kama hospitals, schools, children's home bado ziko na the same needs zenye church iko nayo, lakini hakuna attention yenye wanapewa. Mbona at the end of the day hawana voters na hawana supporters, na government iko after the numbers and after the support and after the watu wakukua wanaoneshana like government ina work adikanya unapata church iko na a lot of eggmen wenye hawako ready kuambia these leaders what kitu wenye makosa yenye wanafanya ama vitu zenye wanafanya mbaya. Kama saa kwa unapata kama saa OC wako na wagonjwa wengi wenye wanahitaji the same attention and the same help yenye church inapewa, lakini au hiyo mgonjwa mwenye ako OC sahi hakuna benefit anarudishia this certain politician. Schools, Madam Karani alisema vizuri sana, unapata kuna churches zenye ziko na institutions kama shule, maybe kama hospitals, lakini hawapewi the same attention. Mbona? Juu at the end of the day hakuna kitu watarudishia the government. Lakini churches mostly ziko na voters, ziko na a lot of privileges, na beniwambianga tu asubuhi hiyo time nyingine the government iko after the numbers and after the voters. So hii kitu ita change like hadi tushinde tukisema the government ziji na churches hiyo change haitaanzia kwa those two institutions ama those two spaces. Change itaanzia na sisi by si wenyewe kukua ready kusema kitu yenye inafaa kuambiwa. Kama ni government imefanya something which yenye haifai ama like our priorities on the ama wako na misplaced priorities, sisi wenyewe like young people like civilians ama wasi wenye hawana power, juu church na government obviously kona power, si wenyewe ni tunafaa tuanzie na change na kukua ready kusema without expecting anything in return, any benefits, juu the moment tunaangalia benefit hapo ushapotea. Thank you.
Asante sana Derek for your contribution. That was wonderful. Umesema kwamba change inafaa ianze na sisi because sisi ndio tuko na hata hizo kura. So that is why actually we are here, so that we may know our role, because sometimes we don't do things only because we don't know that you should do them. So we are here by the virtue that information is power. So when we are here and we help one another, like we delight one another, to now hold these discussions, these conversations that are very much eye-opening, we believe that we get power from here. The power that will help us drive, the power that will give us the boldness, the power that will let us know what we should stand for, and the power that will help us to even express what we want. Exactly, like we just help one another to understand these things. Nick, nimeona umejoin, karibu sana, na uko na mkono wako uko juu, you want to say something. Karibu sana, it's your time, Nick.
Okay, thank you very much, the moderator. I've joined late, but I was doing other activity, and up to now I've decided let me take my 10 minutes so that I can listen to the intellectuals as we are sharing a very important, a very expectatious, even a very expectatious message to one another. And allow me to say this: in the current world we are today, when it comes to revolution, it can only be brought by young people who are more intellectual, because I believe young people are more innovative. They bring a fresh perspective within the society. Those who read history, many revolution has been brought up by the young people. If you see about Kenya, it was brought up by young people who brought the revolution about the independence that we are enjoying today. But those who got the power, they forgot about the vision and the mission at the end. If you look at Kimathi, then Kimathi was a very young man. He was trying to mobilize people around Mount Kenya region. Other peoples from Nyanza region, Coast region, akina Mekatiriri Wameza, and other Ukambani region, they were young people. So today, I'll say that in Kenya, we are the young people, and we are the only one who can bring the second revolution in Kenya. The second revolution to change the political dynamics within this Kenya. We are the only who can bring change through passing the message to the older generation in a different way, maybe through the arts, singing, the art of drawing in a different way. But today, allow me, should I condemn the church or should I condemn the region, government, and we the people? Okay, when Moi was in power, I remember it was about 1988, I'm not sure the exact year, but it's around 98 to 1992 when Section 2A was dropped and the multipartyism was introduced in Kenya. So the church played a very key role. Most of the Catholic bishops who are there, I'm forgetting this father, who was even kingdomed, he was tortured those days because they were fighting a dictatorship government. So by today, I can see we are facing a very dictatorship government and are much annoyed by the religion. Why? They're entertaining the government to continue oppressing the people. It's the high time the youth of this nation realize against the oppressors who are oppressing we, the young generation. They cannot give us the space. Go to church. Church nowadays, it is like politics is being played the church. Church should be kept away from the politics. Okay, if you look at the current churches that have been introduced, they are more greedy. Allow me to use this word. They have the affinity of getting rich each and every time. How many churches have been introduced in Kenya, which we don't know? So many. Why? They need to amass wealth. Allow me to ask one question. Why is the importance of I, as a young reader, contributing 100 million to church, whereas there is a school that has not, that the students they don't have the infrastructure to study on? What is the importance? Is the importance? No. But these politicians, they use the church as a vessel to arise into power. Immediately they arise into power, they forget the church. So it's the highest time the church to arise and have a firm foundation. So I'm criticizing the church. Let them have one stand that they should not allow politicians to go on the pulpits and start preaching the gospel of politics. When it comes to youth, it's the highest time we give education to our moms and dads in the society, starting at the localized level, at a local level, to preach the gospel. When I get a space somewhere, I need to tell them it's the highest time we rebuke this kind of government. We need a government that listens to people. We need the government that delivers to people. Let not government try to market what it's doing. Let we, the public, see what it's doing. I want to give an example. Okay, maybe there are those MP who are performing very well. MP is not there to market his work, but his work is marketing him. True or not true? Allow me to give an example of one MP from Molang constituency, and everyone knows him. His name is you know him. That guy, he does his work very well, and you cannot expect his people to. His people tells the public that our MP does very well. Another MP from Nairobi County, another MP from Coast Region, another MP from Nyanza Region, that he has done a very marvelous work, and he is not there to publicize what he has done. But the people say, our MP has done this and this. So it's the highest time we, as the young generation, we come up with a criteria for counter check what the government is doing. But the real problem is this government is more powerful. They use different machineries to silence us. But now, coming in 2027 or in years to come, is the highest time we start a revolution to choose leaders with integrity, leaders who have no affinity to corruption cases. It's the highest time we enlighten our society, not to choose leaders who have been corrupt immediately. And I'm trying to imagine how many politicians they were involved in different cases of corruption. There's a guy who was involved in cases like ports, Kenya Ports Authority. That guy went to his constituency, he was elected as an MP. The other guy shot a young person at 21 years, he was elected as an MP. Another one, there are so many, but it's the highest time we change the criteria of choosing the better reader. You see, what I would like to say is that the politician, when one politician is being harassed by the government, we the young people, or we the citizen, the poor, we go to the street to say mtu wetu, mtu wetu. What about when a poor man is being touched? Do we the lower class or the lower class gather together say mtu wetu ameguzwa? You see now the balance. So we the lower class, we use our influence and the numbers to protect the the upper class. But when the lower class is being touched, the lower classes groups, we don't mobilize, we don't go to the streets to fight against the light of our mtu wetu mwenye ameguzwa. So ni kama tunatumikanga, kiongozi akiguzwa pale juu, watu wa chini hapa wana mobilize pamoja, wanasema mtu wetu ameguzwa, but when mtu wa chini ameguzwa, wale wako juu wamenyamaza tu. So it's a running lesson. Sisi, it's the highest time we realize, we get into power, we choose the right people, so who can lead us into a better way. Thank you, Kezia. Back to you. Asante sana.
Karibu sana Nick, thank you so much. I applaud you. That was so much resourceful, and thank you so much for allowing us to hear from you, and thank you so much for sharing your opinion. I was very happy and was feeling like nifungue microphone yangu niseme yes I see, when you could ask do you see, you see. So thank you so much for that. And I think we are continuing well, like we are faring well. Na asante sana. You talked about unity at some point, and I think unity is key. When the churches come together and have unity, I think they can do a lot of things. And I have a question, like I am asking myself, and I would like us to ask ourselves the same question, even as I will be giving Daktari to say something, because niliona alikuwa anainua mkono when Nick was saying something. I know akona kitu anataka kusema, but I am asking myself, do we think that there are some beneficial aspects of the relationship between the politics and the church that we are missing out? Like, for example, when the church can promote social cohesion and moral values that support political stability, that is just one that personally, I think we as the people of Embu County and as the people of Kenya, we are missing out. Probably there are others. Ama kuna mtu anafikiria we are not missing out on anything. But the thing is, someone talked about the government and the church being independent, ama being dependent. Me, I know the church should be church and the government should be church. But can these two be without one another? I think no. So there has to be positive, or rather there has to be some good relationship between the two, so that the people of Kenya and the people of Embu County and everybody can benefit from the relationship. Daktari, up to you.
Thank you so much, Kezia. And I like the direction that this conversation is taking, and it is taking shape well. And when Nick was speaking, I was wondering, right now, the church is very powerful. And I want to say right now, because we are seeing like the schools might take over. All of us have seen what Butere Girls has done. Actually, what has happened to Butere Girls. And I'm just studying the trend with the schools, so that we see if the power might move from the church to the schools. But because all of us won't fit in the schools, before that power shifts, what I want us to ask ourselves is this interest that is with the politician. What can we do with it so that it has impact on our life? There's somebody who was saying about the young people, I think it's still Nick or the person who spoke before him, that we have to continue talking and correcting the church, something like that. But I was thinking, is that even the time? What we need to do is now, as because most pastors have goodwill with these leaders that we have, of course, spanning from campaign time, and because at some point also the spiritual leaders were very active in winning votes. They are darlings with these leaders. But you, young person who is in that church, and you're jobless, and you're wishing you could find something to do, could the church be the channel that you might miss out on? And I know when I asked that, I also touch on something Kezia has mentioned. Could that be an opportunity you're missing out on as a young person and as somebody who desires for your church to grow? I was talking to a youth group another day somewhere, a youth group here church, and I was telling them, have you ever thought of registering, of telling your pastor, munataka kuregister CBO? Yeah? Munataka kuregister CBO as a youth group. And that way, the church has a way of attracting leaders into what you're doing in terms of development, in terms of socioeconomic development, alongside spiritual development. Because, of course, any spiritual leader would love a beautiful church, a beautiful structure, a tiled church with beautiful tiles and beautiful walls and interior design. But tutakula interior design tukiwa youth? Is there something we can do with ourselves? Can the women of the church register a women group and be able to access the AGPO? Yes, we are in the church. We belong. Let me use the example I created, a Fire of Calvary Church. And then us as women of Fire Calvary Church, we are a CBO or a self-help group, and we can get funds. And so the church becomes a channel for our growth too. I remember one time in 2022, somebody told me that you're better off looking for a women groups and giving them 10K than even taking 8K to church. And I realized these women, these young people, even as they are in church, there is something they desire. Mi nauliza tu swali moja na nitauliza na Swahili. Saa hii hawa viongozi wako na haja na kanisa as a channel. I said now today we are not interfering with the spiritual matters. Spiritual matters we leave to the pastors and the spiritual leaders. Hiyo vita ni yao. But hii goodwill wachungaji wako nayo. Hakuna venye tunaweza itumia pia sisi to grow in the church. Mi na imagine a youth group ya church ikitaka kuanza car wash, and they themselves are the youth of the church are registered as a youth group. So that now when it comes to the things we were talking about, that the church is an authority, the church is a place of vulnerability, tunaekana nguvu tukiwa church. If you look at today, I will not mention any church, but I'll give this example. The church that is able to sustain its people is also a church that has a good outreach arm. Like it is catering to the orphaned children, maybe it's giving unga to the elderly, that is the church of today. And so before this power leaves the church and goes to the school, because I was looking at unajua kitu lazima ikuwe na mwanzo. Those of you who have not read the story of Butere Girls and their play on Echoes of War, go and read and tell me if Kenya, we are not going to a Sarafina moment. If also you're a bit young, I don't know whether our moderator Kezia has watched a film called Sarafina. Sarafina was the revolution of South Africa led by high school children. Lakini sasa kama saa hii, if the interest of politicians changes to schools, all of us will not fit there. All of us in this forum, we won't fit there. There was also a wave of the young people, the Gen Z. Have you not realized that wave is dying down? Within no time, most of us will be above 34. We will no longer be youth. Every day, there is a group of people leaving the youth age and new ones coming in. So for me, my call for us today is this goodwill, this goodwill that is in the churches, can we use it to grow holistically, not just spiritually? And because the church is a good place to be organized, and even the most of the preachers of today, utapata, they desire this holistic environment. There's a preacher who keeps calling me and telling me, daktari, sasa hawa watu wangu tutawasaidia aje? Juu nimeona is beyond just preaching to them. He was even suggesting one of these days that can you get the women and get them somebody to teach them about cooking food, cooking good food and serving it nicely. That is the church of today, my young people. And that is the mind that I want us to have, because I can see we have just about 35 minutes or less. That is the mind I want us to have. Can each one of us who's heard my voice go and talk to their pastor and ask that question? Of course, some of them may tell you that they can't reach. They keep calling me to connect them to some people in government. So some of them may not reach that level. But if you mention that idea to them today, believe me, that pastor's fellowship, their agenda next week or next month will be about you people. But we have to take the next step. And the next step cannot be streets. One day we are here in Embu demonstrating as young people. Tomorrow, 30 of us have gotten jobs. We have left Embu. So as much as I'm for this vocalness, me, I'm also for hiyo kitu inaletangwa hata si tunaweza ipata. We can channel it our way. Okay? So just look at hiyo interest iko kwa kanisa. And because you're also there in those religious organizations, see how you can help yourselves grow. And we can start by registering that youth formation in church as a youth group, so that you can also start exploring projects that you can do and how you can have impact in the community. Thank you.
Right, welcome Daktari. Thank you so much again for sharing that. And nataka niseme our conversation inaendelea vizuri. Tunaendelea vizuri sana. I want to read what we have in our chat box this far, even as John prepares to share his opinion with us. Kuna Nikasa anasema kama huja watch ni hiyo play ya Butere, DM me, I will share with you. Then kuna zingine ametuandikia hapo ya Tumutumu Girls, ameweka ya Kapseret Girls, ameweka ya Kisimu J. Then amesema see how those dramas were, tuende tuangalie so that you are updated and tunaendelea kujiongeza maarifa. Also there is that Rafina yenye daktari ametaja, go watch it. Me I know it, it's a very wonderful one. Then there is Derek anasema as young people we should be sure and certain about what we really want. For instance, as we ask for development but instead we receive a CS who is not actually working. There is a saying that goes, the world is not evil because of the bad people, but because of the good people choosing to be silent. Through the whole process, from controversial pastor to adamant elected leaders and responsible justice organization, we need change and quick reaction, my good brothers and sisters. Thank you so much. Na daktari amesema thank you. Right, Rafina. Yeah. So tuendelee kuongea hata pale kwa chat box. Maybe uko mahali ambapo huwezi kuzungumza through your microphone because of noise or something else, you can just type in hapo kwa chat box. Sasa utuambie show iko namna gani, tuambie kama unafurahia. We do these shows each and every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. na nyote mnakaribishwa na tuendelee kuita watu. Tuendelee na conversation yetu. John, mkono wako uko juu and I hope this time around unatusikia. John, let us know your opinion.
Thank you, Kezia. Thank you, Daktari. Mimi naitwa John. I'm from Chicago. Mimi ni mchungaji. Nataka nishukuru kwa kupata nafasi hii kuwa katika hii conversation ambayo inaendelea. Niko na mambo machache ya kuongea, na zaidi niseme ninashukuru kwa sababu pia Derek kuna mambo ameweza kuguzia hapa kuhusu vijana, na I normally say kama mchungaji kwamba, na hii inakuanga slogan yangu ya kwamba youth are the heartbeat of the church, na kama vijana hawako kwa kanisa, then hiyo ina maana kwamba kanisa halina hope ya kesho. Number 2, niseme kwamba vijana wanafaa kutiwa nguvu kama vile daktari anazungumzia mambo ya kuregister kama vitu kama CBO and the other groups ambazo zinaweza wajenga. Niseme kwamba hiyo ni kitu ya kutiliwa maanani, na haswa kama daktari wenye wako katika uongozi kule juu wanafaa kuchukua nafasi ya kutia vijana nguvu. Okay, kuna conversation ilikuwa hapo mbele kuhusu kanisa na kuhusu the politicians. I think kuna mahali tulipotezea mwelekeo, kwa sababu mwanzo wa kila kitu, I think kanisa ni mzee kuliko serikali, kwa sababu mwanzo wa kila kitu ni kanisa. Na nafikiri kuna mahali tulifika mahali tukapoteza mwelekeo, kwa sababu watu wetu ama watoto wetu wakifikia nafasi, wakisikia wamefikia nafasi ya kuomba nafasi za uongozi, wanakujanga kwa church, wanaomba nafasi za uongozi. Church inawainua, wanaingia kwa uongozi, lakini the moment wameingia kwa uongozi, unakutanga kwamba mahali walitoka, mahali walianzia pale tu kwa church, wamesahau ile church ama ule mwanzo mdogo walianzia, na kwa sababu wamekuwa pale juu wakalisahau kanisa, wakasahau mahali walianzia. So kama mchungaji ningeomba tufikie hali ama tufikie nafasi turudi mahali tulianzia, kwa sababu kama hatutaweza kurudi mahali pale, hatutaweza kupeleka nchi kwa njia inayofaa. Ndio maana unakuta mtu akipanda pale juu, akiingia kwa uongozi, anaenda kuongoza kwa kifua, anaanza kufanya na mambo zingine, hata ile chachi mahali alianzia ikirudi kwake. Like now we have kuna mambo kadhaa yametendeka upande huu wa kwetu. Unakuta wakati church inataka kuuzisha kiongozi wao, wale mambo wanataka kufanya, for example, pengine wanataka kufanya any development kwa church, unakuta wanaenda kwa yule kiongozi wao, wanamuomba aungane na wao siku fulani, ili waweze kusaidiana kuraise either pesa kwa sababu ya ile mjengo ama ile project ambayo iko mbele yao. Na unakuta wengine wanaenda na ile heshima kama ya wazee wananunua mbuzi, wanapelekea yule politician ili kumrequest aweze kuhudhuria ile nini yao. Yeye akishapata mbuzi anakula, anasahau kama ni church, na anaenda na anapotea na hutamuona hiyo siku. So kwa jingine is like church imedhalauliwa, na ndio maana hata katika nchi ya Kenya, in fact ukiangalia nyakati za kale, wakati mfalme yoyote including akina Daudi na wengine na hata Sauli, wakati wowote kiongozi ama mfalme angetaka kujua jambo lolote, kwanza alikuwa na consult manabii. But today church imedhalauliwa kiasi ya kwamba kiongozi yeyote wa church akiinuka kutoa ushauri wowote, hakuna mtu atakuwa hakuna mtu atamsupport ama ataweza kushikilia ule usemi wake. Number 2, sababu kubwa inafanya kanisa litupiliwe mbali na lidharauliwe ni kwamba hawa viongozi wetu tukiwainua wapande pale juu, wanasahau mahali walianzia, wanaenda kuungana na yale makanisa ambayo ni ya zamani, ambayo yaliinuka, yako katika level yao ambayo wao wenyewe wataweza kuyatawala, ili hali zile makanisa ambazo ziko chini. Nilisikia daktari akiguzia mambo ya hizi chachi ndogo ndogo za mabati. Wakati siasa zimeingia, ndio utakuta yale makanisa kubwa kubwa na wale viongozi wako juu wanakumbuka kwamba kuna makanisa iko kule mashinani, zile za mabati na zingine za matope. Hizo ndizo wanakimbilia kwa sababu wao ndio wako kule mashinani mahali mwananchi yako. I think kulingana na mimi kama mchungaji, ninaomba tufikie hali tuweze kurudi mahali ambapo tunafaa kuwa. Tujiulize, kanisa ni nini na serikali ni nini? Na je, serikali na kanisa inaweza fanya kazi pamoja? Kwangu ninaweza sema ndio. Kama tunaweza fikiria, tuangalie jambo hili kwa kina. Na pia tuliweza kushuhudia juzi wakati wa Gen Z wenye waliinuka wakakashifu kila kitu, wakakashifu serikali, wakakashifu hata church, na vijana wakaonekana wako na nguvu nyingi sana. Na nataka niseme hata saa hii kwamba youth, vijana wako na nguvu, na ndivyo Biblia inasema. Paulo anashauri vijana, anawaambia ninawaandikia kwa sababu nyinyi vijana mko na nguvu. Hata saa hii nasema kwamba vijana wetu wako na nguvu, lakini hizi nguvu ambazo tuko nazo wache tuzitumie, kwa sababu without a church hakuwezi kuwa na serikali. So tutumie hizi nguvu zetu pia kulijenga kanisa kama vijana, kulijenga kanisa, na pia tutumie hizi nguvu zetu, kwa sababu tukijenga kanisa at the same time tutaweza kujenga serikali. So kwangu nataka niseme kwamba ninashukuru kwa sababu ya kupata hii nafasi, ikiwa mara yangu ya kwanza kuungana na nyinyi, na pia niseme ni asante kwa kupata ile nafasi, na niombe kwamba tuweze kushirikiana kushape kanisa at the same time kushape serikali, kwa sababu tusiwe watu wa kuangalia pande moja, tunatafuta yale mabaya. The Bible says in the book of Amos chapter number 5 verse 14 ya kwamba tafuteni yale mema bali si mabaya mpate kuishi. So kama tunataka kuishi, tusiwe tunaangalia kanisa, tunaiangalia yale mabaya, tunaendozi yale mabaya ya kanisa, tunaikasifu kanisa kwa sababu ile kitu kidogo tu imetendeka, alafu tuone kanisa ni mbaya. Na I tell you, na ninaongea bila kuogopa kwamba kanisa bila religion yoyote, either ni wale wako kwa Muslim, either ni wale wako kwa Hindu, either ni wa Kristo kama mimi, bila hiyo hakuna kuendelea. Mahali hapo ndipo mwangaza huko. Hata hawa majenzizi wetu wameanzia pale, wamelelewa pale. Ni vizuri tukumbuke mahali tulianzia, and I believe with all my heart ya kwamba mwisho ama kesho yetu itakuwa nzuri. Asante sana Kezia, asante daktari.
Wow, thank you so much, Pastor John. Let us applaud him, members, even for accepting to be here with us since we started and accepting to share his opinion. I thank God because we have heard it from the church. We have heard it from a representative, a proud representative of the church, who is actually a church leader, or rather the clergy. Na tunashukuru sana na Mungu akubariki sana sababu ya kukubali kuwa na sisi. Mimi kufikia hapo nahisi kana kwamba hata tukimaliza hii show hapo tutakuwa tumefanya jambo la maana sana, kusaidiana kimaarifa na kusonga mbele. Like we will be able to move on with a better understanding. So sitaki kuongeza ya mchungaji ama nipunguze, maana he was very clear, he used a very suitable language for each and every one of us. So sitaki niongeze, sitaki nipunguze, ila tu tuzidi kusema mbivu na mbichi. Amemalizia na hiyo akasema tusiangalie the good only or the bad only, like tuangalie zote, na akasema ikiwezekana tuangalie mazuri. Mi nasema tujenge haya mazuri ili tuweze kuyaangalia. And I thank God because our discussions are always like duo, ni mara mbili. We talk about the good and the bad. We talk about the mbivu, the mbichi. We talk about the truth or marriage, truth or false. So I think we are on the right track. Is there anybody else who would like to say something concerning our topic of discussion today? Because we are actually concluding. So, is there anybody else mwenye angetaka kusema jambo? Any volunteer? But we can just hear from the people who have been with us here from we started, and they have not had an opportunity to say hi to us. Tunaweza pata nyinyi mtusalimie. I can just call you by your names. Then nikikuita, just say hi to us. Would like to hear from you. A hi tu na tuambie tu kitu. We have Maxwell, atasema show ilikuwa aje. Atasema conversation imekuwa aje. Na ita show because one of these fine days it's gonna be a show, a live show. Maxwell?
Hello there. I'm well. My name is Maxwell, and I've come in the middle of the show, so I got to hear a little bit about what was being discussed, and I think that is a very beautiful show that needs to be encouraged. And the debate, and as well as the conversation that has taken place, was very nice. I appreciate that Daktari called me in to come in and hear a little what is going on. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Maxwell. We welcome you on each and every Thursday from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. We do have these discussions, these conversations on various topics that are affecting us as Embu County community and as the country, Kenya at large. So, asante sana. Naomi, I can see you. Or can we hear from you kindly?
Yes. Hello.
Hello, yeah, we can get you.
Yes, I'm Naomi. I've just joined you about few minutes ago. I've not gotten the context, but I promise to join you next week, Ari, so that I can get the context. Thank you, Daktari, for sending a link to me. I appreciate.
Karibu sana Naomi, and thank you so much for kuitika mwito, and sorry even for joining late. Next time tutatuma link mapema. I know Daktari we share earlier enough. And just a recap for you, Naomi, today we have been talking about the church and the government. Yes, the good and the bad, and we have been able to see what can we do to improve on the status quo, ama nini tunaweza fanya from us, that which can start from us. Sasa tukisonga, like we want to start from the grassroots levels, which can be you as an individual, what you can do to that church, or what opinion you can share to the leadership of the church that would actually help in coordination with the government. If, for example, tunaweza enda tuongee na viongozi wetu wa kanisa vile tunaweza register groups kama za vijana. We register maybe as a CBO and as the church group, and then from there we are able to run some church programs, maybe at an hospital, I mean a dispensary. I know, and we have appreciated the churches that are already doing it. There are churches that own dispensaries, there are churches that actually own schools, and we are commending that, and we have been having this conversation so that we can have these more of that, whereby even the government can now come through the leadership of the church and participate in improving what the church has already started. That was just one aspect. We have also talked about the unity ama the coordination between the church and the government, how the church can help in shaping the government, and how the government can help on improving the church and other social amenities through the church. Sitaweza kuambia yote. That was just in a nutshell. I hope it is not in vain that you joined actually. So thank you so much once more, and we hope to have you and everybody else on Thursday for the next topic. To the next person, Tesh, you are here. Kindly say hi to us. Tesh, if you can hear me. Maybe Tesh is not in a position. Then, all right. I think everybody else has said hi. Daktari, I hope Frida's not take Niako. So thank you so much. Daktari, could you be having something else maybe to adjourn our meeting? Ama Naomi. Naomi, do you want to say something? Your microphone is still on. Okay, Daktari, we are adjourning our conversation for today. We want to leave it at that. I invite you to say something, and I actually really appreciate for the presentation that you have been making in our conversation today. You've made it very much lively, and we have been able to learn a lot, and we thank God for you. So over to you, Daktari.
Thank you so much, Kezia. Just to also thank our audience. Many people have left, but I want to believe everybody carries a message home every Thursday. If you look at our schedule that we put up on Facebook, we have topics to discuss each and every Thursday up until 26th June. And for me, my greatest desire for my people in Embu is a change of mindset. And like I said in summary, I realized we cannot change mindsets on the streets. Yes, we can try once in a while, we go on the street, but if the mindset does not change, we shall repeat the very same mistakes. Number two is that we already have a model to work with. What is already happening is something we can change mindset with or against. Like we have something to say, this is what is happening in the church. Can we also have this happening to the other side of the church? So every Thursday we have something to discuss. And anybody who comes here, I would wish they commit to change a mindset. By the time we are taking these shows to the grassroots and it is becoming a live show, we will need a lot of goodwill, even from the media, because the media also must want to change its mindset. And we have a forum to discuss what the media is doing well and what the media is not doing well. And of course, specifically for Embu. So I really want to say thank you for the people who've been with us since we began this show. The first show, we did it on 27th February, and we are still continuing and we are not stopping. So I want to just wish you a good evening and hope to see you next Thursday. Next Thursday, we are going to be discussing about the Embu County Affirmative Funds. That is the fund for the youth and women and people living with disabilities, and asking if it is there, if it is not there, is it working, is it not working? Because in this show, we look at two sides of things, the good and the not so good, or the good and the bad. So thank you so much for your time, Kezia. Thank you for being an awesome moderator. Thank you for always being there. I want to tell the members that the recording of this show, for those who've missed the whole recording, will be put somewhere online on Facebook. Just look out for Embu TV or a post of our schedules, and in the comment section, you'll find even recordings of past shows. So thank you so much, and God bless you.
Good night.
Good night.